morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world, and welcome to 1847 Liberty. I'm Thomas Sarko, and together with my co-host Joseph Irene, we bring you insightful analysis and exclusive interviews of thought leaders from Liberia and around the world. Please stay tuned. Uh, Joseph Irene is. So everyone on the show is not just encouraged, but expected to engage in what we call the healthy arguments, the ones that are handled with respect, open-mindedness, and a focus on finding solutions rather than just winning arguments. This is a show. This is a platform for respectful dialogue. We value your input and will not tolerate disrespect, insults, name calling, or demeaning language. Our panelists are not just encouraged, but required to express their views clearly and honestly without resorting to insults and accusations.
You know you did me wrong by rushing me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's mine.
Lou,
Yeah?
just apologize because you did me wrong by rushing me. No,
Well, sorry, she can always touch you up.
that's not the point. She sent a schedule this morning saying that 11 o'clock this, 12 o'clock this, 1 o'clock this, 3 o'clock this. So I'm rushing to get my makeup done to come here to be on time. And she's not even ready.
Yours is already done. What else do you need to do
I
with
was
your
rushing
face?
her. That's the point, Rue. I was rushing
I mean,
her.
she can always touch you up. Sorry that we are behind. Like, we should be done.
So next time when you say 11, I will plan on 12 or 1. So we'll be using Asian time instead of Western time.
It's okay to be on.
That's an interesting one. So, Life After Scrubs is a reality TV show that showcases the authentic experiences of nurses, both on the job and in their personal lives. The show challenges the misconception that nurses are confined to bedside care and physical tasks. The show is showcasing the diverse demands they face, including stress and burnout. Life After Scrubs was created to raise awareness of how meaningful social interaction among nurses can help prevent mental burnout. Watch out for new episodes on Facebook and YouTube. So today we have a series long topic, a long series like multiple series. I'll say the first one today looks at faith in Liberia from the positive side, a source of resilience and optimism. So in Liberia, faith is more than just a belief system. It is a strategy of survival. In a country where over 54% of the population lives below the poverty line, and nearly 8 out of 10 people lack income generating employment, the Liberian people continue to hold fast to something more profound than circumstance, their faith in God. Walk through any community on a Sunday morning, and you will see it clearly. Families are dressed in their finest, not because they have more, but because they believe in honoring God with what they have. Some may press their clothes with borrowed irons and polish their shoes with cooking oil, but their posture is often proud, elegant. Church isn't just a ritual for these Liberian families, but a sanctuary where they can convene to unburden themselves from the heaps of sorrows and suffering. Christianity is not just a religion for Liberians, it is simply a way of life. Faith is not a minority experience in Liberia. According to the 2008 National Population and Housing Census, Christianity accounts for 85.5% of the total population, followed by Islam at 12.2%, with only 1.5% identifying as non-religious. These figures remain the most widely cited in national and international reports, including the U.S. Department of State's 2022 report on international religious freedom. Liberia's religious leaders, pastors, imams, and evangelists are at the heart of this spiritual culture. Many live modest lives in the absence of stable income to provide for their families, yet their faith remains unshakable. They preach hope in communities where despair is almost the norm. They counsel families who have lost everything. They lead congregations from a place of, not from a place of power and control, but from a place of purpose and devotion. Religious leaders in Liberia continue to faithfully lead their flock, not because they have all the answers, but because they believe in a greater power. Their pulpits are platforms for healing, and their prayers serve as lifelines for many. Without viable safety nets in most communities, religious centers have become more than just places of worship. There are support centers that offer food, mentorship, social, and career counseling. Faith-based organizations like the Liberian Council of Churches and the National Commission for Justice, Peace, and Caritas have played critical roles in mediation and reconciliation, especially during and after Liberia's civil conflict. Despite economic hardship, Liberians continue to raise their children in the faith. They teach them to pray before meals, praise and worship before sleep, and trust in God, especially when the future seems so uncertain. In many homes, the Bible is the most read book, not because it is the only one available, but because it offers hope amid the harsh reality of life in a country. Faith gives Liberians the courage to rise, the strength to endure hardship, and the hope to believe that after the rain, the sun will eventually shine, and that better days are not just possible, but guaranteed. And at the heart of their Christian faith is their incredible gospel music. Christian music plays an integral role in the lives of our people. Gospel music is a Liberian staple, from the amplifiers of churches on Sundays to the public buses and taxi cabs. Liberians constantly sing and dance as if every day were a beautiful and joyful day. Even in the midst of pain and suffering, the people sing and dance. The triumphant praise and worship songs from legends like Maron Dua Cassell and Cecilia Andrew Ba, and the calming melodies of Tracy Donnell Jones and William Davis often serve as a default source of comfort and therapy for many who are downhearted and facing despair. Our faith is deeply rooted in our tradition of resilience and optimism. Joining us today to talk about our faith are our Pastor Addison Montutier. Welcome to 1847 Liberty, Reverend.
Yeah.
And our other panelists are still having some technical issues getting onto the show. But in the meantime, we'll have a brief chat with the Reverend. But before that, we'll take a brief commercial break.
You know you did me wrong by rushing me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's mine.
Lou,
Yeah?
just apologize because you did me wrong by rushing me.
Well, sorry, she can always touch you up.
No, that's not the point.
want me
She
to say?
sent a schedule this morning saying that 11 o'clock this, 12 o'clock this, 1 o'clock this, 3 o'clock this. So I'm rushing to get my makeup done to come here to be on time. And she's not even ready.
Yours is already done. What else do you need to do
I
with
was
your
rushing
face?
her. That's the point, Rue. I was rushing
I mean,
her.
she can always touch you up. Sorry that we are behind. Like, we should be done.
So next time when you say 11, I will plan on 12 or 1. So we'll be using Asian time instead of Western time.
That was live after Scrubs. Watch out for new episodes coming to you on YouTube and Facebook. We'll go get right over to my first panelist, the Reverend Addison Tier, who is based in North Dakota, USA. Reverend, welcome to 1847 Liberty.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so today we are looking at faith in Liberia, which is a source of resilience and optimism for millions across the country. So, Reverend, looking at the country nowadays with the rise in social vices, in your capacity as a man of faith and a church leader, pastor, how can you leverage your influence as a pastor, a man of God, to help guide people, especially our young people, away from such vices like the ever increasing culture of drug addiction?
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for having me on. I really appreciate the invite, and it's a good thing to discuss the issues. Uh, First, looking at the situation, let me just focus on the Kush issue. It is very much important we as people of faith, it is our responsibility as a church because the Bible makes us to understand in the Bible that the government shall be upon the shoulder of the church. It's just that unfortunately, the government these days does not reference the church. They do not see the importance of the church, the role of the church in a modern day government. So I think it's because of that you find more government in our country coming up. They are kind of struggling and other stuff because they forget about the role the church is supposed to play in the government. But coming back to the issue of the push of our young generation, it is very much important and concerning because if we don't get the generation to where they're supposed to be, tomorrow there will be no country called Liberia. Then we'll have foreigners coming back to take over our country to lead our people. And in that much we don't want that to be repeated or we don't want that to happen, it is our sole responsibility to go out there and see how best we can pull our best tools in place to see how best we can refine the minds of our young people. So if I had the opportunity to go back home Liberia and to help in the process, I would be so glad because I think I would make it my sole responsibility to see how best, first of all, to conscientize the church. Because instead of the government going into those areas, it is the church that's supposed to be doing that and mandating the government to support them in the process. But it is our responsibility because the Bible says we should go ye into the world and preach the gospel. Are we going ye into the world? How can we go ye into the world when we have not yet gone ye in Liberia? The church is sitting there and watching young generation die before their time. So I will say that's a shame to the church for them not knowing their role and playing their role. So if I were in Liberia, the first thing, and at this moment on this platform, I just want to encourage the churches in Liberia because the Bible, God charged us with the responsibility that the government shall be upon the shoulder of the church. Even though the fact remains that the government ignores the role of the church, but still that is not enough for the church to sit apart and watch things going on in the country. So it is a responsibility. I want to encourage the churches in Liberia or the church in Liberia to make a bold step. The
Uh,
church
but,
need to get up.
but Reverend, I don't you think that's a unfair conclusion to make that the churches are not doing well? Because from my own understanding, I've been following, and I know that a lot of faith-based organizations have been doing well when it comes to uh, tackling the issue of drug addiction from from a long-term perspective. I'll give you an example with this guy called the former butt naked, the former rebel leader. Like he's doing a phenomenal job, an incredible job over there, and he's receiving support from a lot of faith-based organizations, namely one that is based in Canada, that is led by Reverend Joe Amora, and they're doing a very good job. They're rehabilitating young men who have been a victim to drug addiction. They are training them in various life skills and trades. You know, they have a lot of trades program where they're rehabilitating these young men and also empowering them with skills that they can go back into the community and become productive citizens. And I've been reading and following a lot of church-based organizations. So Don't you think that is an unfair, statement to make?
Well, let me say this, it may appear being unfair, but first of all, I will appreciate Joshua Milton Bly. He's doing extremely well, and I really applaud him for his work that he's doing. And I pray that God will continue to strengthen him in his endeavor. But real. Let's be real in this place, right? Joshua Milton Bly alone is not sufficient for this job. He's doing extremely well. If my conclusion here to say the church is not doing well because looking at this individual alone, it's not sufficient.
It's not the only one. Caritas, the Liberia Council of Churches, Joseph,
Okay.
Irene.
Yeah, but
Correct me
then,
if I'm
okay,
wrong.
if we say that the church is doing well and the church is out there doing well, but then look at the number of youth
Mhm.
that are out there.
Yeah, but this is a very challenging situation, Reverend. So the churches do not have the capacity, the resources to undertake, huge projects that a national government would do. But in their weak ways, in from their position, as faith leaders, as people who are guiding, their flock or leading their flock, uh, the areas of counseling, that's part of the question that I was asking you. Like, how can you, in your capacity as a pastor, because you have so much influence over your congregants, so how are you in your week way, even in your church here in the US, because even here in America, we have a lot of Liberian youth who are also, falling prey to drug addiction and other vices. So, in your capacity as a pastor on the pulpit, what are you doing? What are some programs in your church? And what are some outreach programs that you are also extending to churches in Liberia or partner churches in Liberia to help, at least in the areas of counseling? Yeah, that's where I was really driving.
Okay. So first of all, like I say, it's a general concern for everybody. So as a pastor, what am I really doing is that I'm linking with a couple of pastors in Liberia, and I'm discussing with them and seeing what's the need there, in the process, because it's important that we all go out there to encourage our young people out of the ghetto and whatever thing they are into. I know looking at Liberia, the financial situation in Liberia is kind of tough, right? And you cannot tell the man, say, Jesus loves you and pass by him. The issue of telling the man that Jesus loves him, it needs some level of demonstration.
Okay.
So I'm in link with a couple of pastors that I got a pastor that I got a church there, and I'm in link with them. So we are kind of working on some stuff, and seeing how best we can go out there to the young people and talk to them, because the issue is not just government alone. Even the Council of Churches, Joshua Blight, they are all doing their best, but it's every one of us concerned because we want to save a generation for tomorrow. So I'm in contact with a couple of them, and we are discussing and seeing how best. I even trying to meet up with some guys, some of my friends, and think that we are discussing some issue and putting the emergency down before them and see how best whatever we can raise by whatever means, at least to be able to help in the process. And myself, I'm thinking about going down also to see how best I can set up a conference. And that conference will be all about those guys who will have to invite them and see how best we can speak to their minds. Because if the mind is occupied with things that are not of God, the Bible said, an empty mind is the devil workshop. So in order to keep them busy in the house of God, we need to do what we can. So we're trying to put my candidacy in place here. And at the same time, I'm making arrangement to go back home to see how best I can contribute by talking to the young folks. They're doing those days in my outreach day when I was coming out as a young minister. I go into the ghettos, talk to the guys. Sometimes we challenge them, we play soccer with them. That's the strategy I was using. If my team win, then you get to go to church and all this stuff. So we are working on things here, and I also planning to go back home and see how best I can contribute by talking to these guys also. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you
Thank you
so
very
much,
much.
Reverend. You I listened to you expressing your grievances. I mean, your disappointment in the churches in Liberia here, and this drug addiction thing is a serious issue, and the government can only do so much. There was a massive protest here, and the people presented their petition for what they want the government to do. And I know our viewers out there want to know what role can the church play in this crisis during this time. I mean, this is a serious issue. So what is the church's role in this issue?
So like the role of the church, the whole said that this is a national issue, right?
Yep.
And this need the government attention. And I want to applaud the government for also their work they are doing also. And it is important because this is a national crisis. I consider it as that. Because if we don't save these people or this generation, Liberia will be done for a couple of years. So I think with what the government is doing, the church needs to come out, right? In every community, look, brother, it's not anything difficult. It may appear difficult, but the Bible says little is much when God is in it. So whatever the church can raise in your local churches and make sure they go down to the various communities, taking responsibility, taking initiative, carry on program, seminars and workshop and talking to this guy and making sure, look, the thing is simple. If the church actually truly ready to transform that nation or to transform the generation there that are involved into that cool situation. Now, this is why I can say, right? A church, the council of churches can have an emergency meeting with every pastor in that area, right? What is the plan? This is the plan, gentlemen. We need to find a place. Find a residential area that even the government can subsidize the projects, help them in the process. They
Okay.
can fund.
Okay, Reverend, we're gonna circle right back to you. I want to,
Okay.
redirect the discussion, back to the main topic.
Okay.
Let's bring Joseph Akwezeze on. Mr. Zeze, because we're talking about, the source of resilience. And uh, Pastor Pierre, can you please mute? Okay, we got that taken care of. There was a serious background noise from your end. So we're we're talking about faith in Liberia. We're looking at the significance of faith in Liberia, which is the source of resilience and optimism for millions of our people. Like when everything it stops working, hope in God is that one thing that our people, that one guarantee that they have, that hope. So coming to you, Joseph, how has your Christian faith impacted your life in general?
Thank you very much. Apologies for coming on late. I was at an engagement, so Kim have to hurry up to set up. Again, technical issues also played, but however, they have been resolved. Okay, so with respect to that question, the first thing when it comes to church, or let's say in social context, we talk about the religious institution, but now we're discussing church, so we delve into that church part. It, it is, very important in a society to mold the minds from being righteous, and in this case, we are talking about the resilience which comes by faith. So, where we have to be careful as I listen to many sermons, um, the faith part, the unseen mover, things that can move but unseen. has to be complemented by work. So, um, in most cases, our bearer of the gospel, the good news, always preach the faith and don't necessarily focus on the work part because they say faithful without work is dead. So that has been some of the cardinal Christian principle I have observed. I have, you know, carry on some transformation in my life, not just the faith, but the work. Yeah. So, like for example, if you want this done, you pray to God and just leave it with Him and continue to work. Then, in that instance, you can see um, the, the 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 success of your prayer. Sometimes He tells you wait, or sometimes He tells you now or no because of the condition at the time. So the key thing there is the faith should be complemented by the work. So when we talk about running a national administrative apparatus like government, where everything breaks down. But the hope is that faith, and the faith must be complemented by the work, the thinking, the thought, exploring all avenues, and the faith will just be the backbone, but complemented by the work that you do to get your end result. So that has played a major role in my life, not just the faith, but also to complement it by the work.
Thank you, Joseph. Joseph, Irene, do you have anything on your end?
Yeah, there's something I wanted to bring to the table concerning faith in Liberia.
Okay.
There's this common song that we sing in Liberia saying Liberia was established on a Christian principle, and we all sing that song every day. But the 1986 Constitution changed everything. According to the 1986 Constitution, Liberia is no more Christian state, but rather Liberia is a secular state. And in Liberia, we still observe national fast and prayer holidays and emergency and national fast and prayer holidays in government areas. And so I would like to bring this to the table. How do we reconcile the fact that Liberia chose not to be a Christian state, and the fact that we are observing national fast and prayer day? So is that a contradiction? How do you see it? What will you say to that? I like to bring that to the panelists.
Well, in practice, I don't think that is a contradiction. I really don't want to, delve into the political part right now because if you look at what we decided to talk about today is really looking at a positive impact of the Christian faith, on, you know, it- on the in the lives of Liberians in general, right? And if you look at
Okay.
the study in my report, my commentary, we are more than 85% Christians, right? And there is religious harmony in Liberia. So I really don't want to get into that debate. Okay. I like to just focus this discussion to the positive aspect, right? Because
Okay.
and I'll give you this story. I once read a blog post by one American uh, uh, how you call it, missionary who served in Liberia for a number of years, and then he returned, and he was giving his impression, by the Liberian people. And this guy wrote, and it was really touching, And this guy said he has never seen any group of people as resilient as the Liberian people. He said, like, most of his congregants, most of the people in the community that he lived in, barely had, better could afford a single meal a day. But this, this faith, their hope in God kept them going. Like they didn't even seem like people who were depressed, like they're always happy, especially on Sundays. They dress in their finest, they go to church and they're dancing and singing. And they're just hoping, that a better day will show up soon, like, and he tried to compare that with people in Western countries. And remember, Christianity was brought to Liberia and Africa at large by Westerners. And he was comparing, it's like people in the West don't really understand the meaning of faith. Like they don't really care because people in Western countries, like, they're quick to, break down and give up, take the easy way out when they're faced with frustration or depression. Some commit suicides, and but you don't even see that in Liberia. If you look at the suicide rate in Liberia, I bet, I mean, it's gonna be it's significantly lower. Like people are just hopeful, they're just courageous, so that's the part that I really want to focus on, to be honest with you. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody want to come in, but that's really what's really, moved me. And I I have observed this too. Like we are one of the most resilient people, given all of the hardship that we have endured, we've gone through as a nation. Like our people still walk with their heads up high, hoping for a better day. So that's really what I was, trying to put everything. That's the direction
Okay.
I was putting the whole argument, in the discussion towards. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you so much for the clarity. Yeah, I
Yeah. Yeah.
really do appreciate. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
our good friend Matthew Niaplu, presidential hopeful, has just joined us. I know this is not an area that of expertise. I mean, but how? And I do understand also that you are a Christian by faith. So how has your Christian faith, if influenced, your life as a politician or as a professional?
Well, I think my action in whatever I do is firmly rooted in my belief in God, and uh, we see God, or we know God as our providence. Uh, I mean, He has already charted the course that we have to follow on earth. And I come from the background that everything is preordained, predestined. I'm just fulfilling what the Almighty has already set forth before me. So every day I pray that His grace will continue to guide me to make sure that I discover the path that He has set forth before me. Uh, I also believe that I'm inspired to take action on behalf of the people of Liberia, and that my faith inspires my action, makes me uncompromising, especially if I have to. I have a very strong uh, conscience, which is a guide to me, and that conscience is that which guides me to obey what God declares. So if I refuse to do certain things that I believe compromises my conscience or will affect my conscience, I believe that I'm being obedient to God.
Yes, sir. So
So I have a calling,
so so
and
so, so
that calling from the Almighty guides the actions I take.
thank you very much. So can we say then that it was your Christian faith that influenced the decision that you made to resign from the current regime, the
Obviously,
United Party
I know
government?
you keep bringing us back to that,
Yeah, I mean
but
it's something. It's something
yeah,
yeah, and
obviously,
I want to use that.
yeah, because so this is the point.
I want to use that as an example
Yeah, government.
for most people in public office to
Yeah,
let their conscience serve as a guide, let their conscience guide them, especially
yeah,
their religious, conscience that because most Liberians are religious, but the way they behave,
mm,
so giving, I mean, you as a young man,
mm,
making such a decision, very tough decision, right? That many of your peers would not even dream, would not even dare try, So that is something laudable. I want others to see that as an example. you know. So
It wasn't tough for me, Mr. Sacco, because I have
okay,
been down those kinds of routes before, and I
okay.
always try to stay true to who I am. And so this is the question comes, especially for those who want to go in government. Because first, and I would say this to you, Mr. Sacco, and the colleagues on the panel, that you need to know yourself before you go into public office. Because if you don't do that, the culture in public office will shape you. And if you allow yourself to be shaped by the current culture in Liberian public service, you will hurt the country a lot and you wouldn't know it. And a lot of what the people do in Liberia today, eh, I have I've continued to say that the government as we know it today is an organized criminal syndicate against the people of Liberia. And we're talking religious issues, but that's basically what I encountered when I entered the government. Because you literally see people in high offices concocting to cheat the Liberian people. So then I asked them, but I mean, what is the motivation that bring these people, to come and say they want to serve the people of Liberia? But it all then comes down to people not understanding or people having like kind of malign motivation as to why they want to go in public office. Because for if you are like me, a religious person who believes that when I go into public office, I'm doing it because God has designated me to go and serve, and I will question things that are not in line with what I believe God's purpose should be, then my actions are guided what I believe God wants me to do there. So when I was in the brief 9 months period I spent in the government, that question was coming to me every time. How is my presence here helping to make the people of Liberia better, helping to make the country better? And I couldn't find the answer. I couldn't find a positive answer. Many times, friends who are close to me, I will have a conversation with them and tell them what was going on and how all the noise that we heard about people who wanted to go in government was quite the opposite of what they were doing there when I had the opportunity to work in government. I had this one superior minister above me who every plan that we made to take an action within the government would say that for us to get something. You understand what I mean?
Mhm.
And for me, that was not in line with my conscience. Now, for example, why I left the government, I think that is something that should be a no-brainer. Sarah Beslow Yanti told both-faced lie. She and the Minister of Information told both-faced lie, and they refused to admit to the lie and they refused to apologize to the people of Liberia. Look, in public service, no one is infallible. I mean, to ourselves, we do make mistakes. So we don't expect our public officials to be perfect. But when you make a mistake, for example, I was saying to the Minister of Information that you didn't know this, I brought it to your attention. I told him, I said the Nicotech stuff that Minister of Foreign Affairs is promoting is a private business of a Ghanaian company. And what they are promoting, they don't have the capacity to do it because the program that they say they're promoting, Work Study, is a US government financial aid program for needy students. No non-US actor can claim that they will single-handedly, ensure that Liberians go to the United States and study for 2 years and work for 3 years. When they realized, when I told them all the facts, they realized that they knew that it was that they had already created a mess for the government, but they didn't want to admit to that. And for me, that's humility, and that's what I do. If I make a statement, and you come to me and tell me, say what you said is false, you give me the fact, and I'm convinced that I'm in error, I will admit the error and I will apologize. And that's basically what I said. What I don't know what the guy who was appointed today as a minister of state for presidential affairs, Sam Stikuya, who wrote a letter to me telling me, say the president said I should be suspended indefinitely. I resign. The only reason why they said they did that was because I called on the foreign minister to apologize to the people of Liberia for the bold-faced lie. And I told Liberians not to pay 1 cent to Nicotech for quote unquote work study loan program. I was obeying what God told me to do, what the Spirit of God told me to do, that I should not compromise that. And when President Boakai did not recognize that I was on the side of the people and I was languishing and saying the truth, preventing Liberians from being extorted by a Ghanaian company that didn't have the capacity to deliver what they said they were going to do. And I saw that there was a grand scheme of people who felt that they were closer to the president. And I resigned the job. I left the job. I resigned the next day. I mean, I resigned the job. That's basically, I obeyed my conscience. And I told him before that day, the Minister of Information had threatened me that my post will cost me my job. And I told the minister I would go in good conscience. And I always do that. Sir, I always go in good conscience. I want my conscience to be clear and not to be compromised because I have to keep a job. That's
Thank
how
you.
I obey God. Yeah.
Thank you, Matthew. I mean, your actions were quite noble. And we if we had about 10 people like you in government, I think our government will be one of the most transparent ones in
And
Africa.
that and so that's why we have to. That's why, Mr. Sako, we are entering the race. Even
Mm,
though we're coming from, they're saying that we're coming from a low resource base, but we believe that we have the message to tell the people of Liberia. And the
yes.
reason why we feel the urge to enter the race is because if the culture that has pervaded government Sako all these years, if those same people continue to contest for public office and nobody with an alternative approach and an alternative radical view enters that race and says something else to the people of Liberia to say, no, this is not the way, this should be the way, then we too now we will also be prisoners of our conscience. We have to enter the race. We have to expose the truth to the people of Liberia, give them the opportunity to say, we are volunteering our service as well, but we want to serve. Give us the opportunity and you will see the difference. So we can't hold back because that same culture, unfortunately, what we saw during President Selim's administration, some of that were copied in Weah's administration, the bar actors. That same culture is within the current administration. They believe that there is a separate government and people of Liberia. That people in the government are supposed to go there to benefit themselves and to hell with the rest of the Liberian people. That is basically what happens. That is basically the culture within the government. Those who are
And that,
currently working in the government, the
and that
majority of them.
and that is really
So just
unfortunate.
imagine Mr. Sako, people at the Ministry of Finance will be saying to an accountant from Ministry of Education that your voucher to reach the minister desk for you to get your allotment in the budget, you got to give up something what they call. I want to use the term that they use. They say, I think what government where you have to push the voucher. That's the term they use at the
And what
Ministry
does
of
that mean?
Finance.
What
They
does
say
that
you
mean
have to push the voucher.
in layman terms? What does that
You
mean?
know what I mean when they say push the voucher? It means that some percentage of that allotment that they're going to give you within the budget has to go to the people who are processing your voucher at the Ministry of Finance. So if you are the Ministry of Finance, you are the custodian of government resources, you are asking the person accountant for the Ministry of Education to give you part of the money to put in your pocket that's supposed to be used to benefit of the people of Liberia. What message are you sending to that accountant that going back? Basically, he would say the people here in Ministry of Finance, they want to do anything good with the government money. So when I man go to, when he get you caught, I'll go down to our people. When a man get you caught for his allotment at the Ministry of Education, and when he go there, what you think he would do to? He would take his uncle, maybe he would take double what you took from him. The people at the House of Representatives, Mr. Sako, they do it. When you see them writing all that big numbers in the budget, when they say they're doing budget negotiation, they're literally telling ministry and agencies, say, this budget line, you say you want $1.5 million. Okay, we're going to put $2.5 million there. Okay, that $1 million has to come back to this house here, but you will account for $2.5 million. That is happening today. What are these people doing? That is
Uh,
an organized criminal syndicate in
that's,
our country today. That is happening.
that's a
You
good
must
question.
quote me.
That's
Quote me. I
mhm.
had some Liberians are working at the IMF. We're in a conversation with them, and some of them were telling what I just told you that what they told me. They said when we go for Article 5 negotiation,
Mhm.
that's what we hear from. That's what we hear from government ministries. That
That,
the people, yes.
that's a really interesting point. But let me come in quickly, and I'm someone who believe in the principle of transforming concepts, right? We're talking about how Liberians use faith as their anchor, right? As their last resort. Like when everything stops working, we cling onto our faith. And that is usually when we are, you know, less fortunate. But when ever, people ascend, to the highest offices in the land, especially public service, they tend to forget about, that culture, the culture of, resilience and optimism, and integrity, right? So why can't they transform that same concept to be like yourself, Mr. Nyamplu, to let their Christian, principles
The motivation.
every decision, guide
So
every decision they make, from the presidency all the way down to the entry level employees in public office. Of if they are, using or transforming that same concept they have from the church or from the Christian faith, I think we'll have a better society, a better country. But let's hear from a man of God in the house, Mr. Tia. Pastor, what's your take?
I mean, I'll exit briefly and we'll come back, please. I had a call at the top of the hour.
Sure.
Thank you.
Please, yeah, take it. Reverend Tia, you are muted. You're on mute.
You getting me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I listened to the brothers very well. I mean, it's so unfortunate, but let's go to what we got to go to. You see, first of all, I want to appreciate the Christian community in Liberia for their resilience. They are very tough people in terms of situation. In terms of tough time, they stand up to the call. And I really appreciate them because I witnessed that. I didn't travel to any country throughout the war. I've been in Liberia throughout the war from the 1989 start up to the time we had the 2005 election. So I really want to appreciate the Liberian people from that time onward up to this time. In difficult time, they stand up, they hold on to God. It's when God gets to know that indeed the country called Liberia and the people in that country serving with their heart. Because it's when you see people. Now, in that situation, you find Liberian focusing on God and not going anywhere else to find another solution. Now, the other people want to argue about, I'm talking about the average. Yeah. So you see that for I want to be grateful to God for the West that brought the gospel to Liberia. And it really make a huge impact in some of us life, and the teaching and all of the upbringing as a Christian home is really help because with the kind of teaching we got from our family, our parents, from the church, and these things help to prepare some of us that today we find ourselves in a strange land. And because of those teaching, as the Bible says, train all the child in a way that when he or she grows up, they will not depart from it. It is because of that kind of teaching that was given to us. Today, we find ourselves in this country and we are still governing ourselves and we are still carrying ourselves in the way we're supposed to carry ourselves. So I want to be grateful to God for my parents because I remember my grandmother used to take me to, I was a Methodist. She used to take me to the Methodist church down, Joanne Old Crew Town area there, Georgia, Spartan. And I remember whenever we go to church, when I was a kid, I would leave the church and go down to the beach to swim. And trust me, because I boycotted church, service, man, when I get home, I will get the aftermath. So you see, the discipline has been instilled into some of us, even to the extent that at the time when we choose to go our own path and not to follow the path of God, you will notice that things will not go well with you. For me, I don't know about other people, but things wasn't going well for me when I choose to go the wrong path. Until I realized and repented from it and come back to God and I start to follow the path of God. And the moment I start to follow the path of God, I noticed that things start to go the right way I expected it to go. So indeed, Christianity, I want to be grateful to God again for the West because I have not been for them. I don't know where some of we have been today. But I want to thank the Liberian people, especially the Christian community. They are doing extremely well. They are doing extremely well in tough time, in difficult time. They adjust, they adapt to system, and they work with the system through the grace of God, and they stay hold on to their God. So it is very much important, and I want to encourage them, don't give up, no matter what the situation may be. Even though government come and government go and they deceive us and they deceive you guys. But I just want to encourage you, continue to hold on to your God. At the appointed time, God will find a rightful leadership for that country. That the people of Liberia will enjoy the fruit of their labor. They will enjoy their country. They will have a reason that to say, they will have a reason for which they are a Liberian. So I just want to encourage them, and the Christianity have been so helpful. I'm a testimony to that. And because of that, I want to encourage all of you that in Liberia that goes to church and think, I just want to say, keep on with your faith. God will find your solution one of these days. So that's my contribution for now. I mean, it's just so big, but I can't see everything from everywhere. I just have to go to my point and say what I got to say. But it's a really big open conversation right there. But I want to be grateful to God for the West. Though they maintain their back from the gospel, but at least they brought something good to us and we are holding on to it and we keep holding on to it. So I want to encourage every Liberian, meaningful Liberia in that country that continue the good work, hold on to your God. Don't give up. Don't allow situation to make you give up. Continue. God is watching.
Okay, thank you, Reverend Joseph Akwe Zeze. So in your line of work as a public servant, as we heard from our president, hopeful Matthew, his Christian principles guided him in making the very difficult decision that he had to make. So in your line of work, in your everyday work, how does your Christian principle guide you? What role does the Christian principle play in the decisions that you make every day?
Yeah, it comes back to the faith that leads to the resilience or the optimism. So I said that the faith is there as an engine that will motivate me, or that has been motivating me to work harder and to accomplish my goals. Today, I'm an author of 2 books, and the third one is coming. So that faith, we know very well that even self-publishing is very expensive, unlike the traditional one, which is more expensive. But I had a faith that I will make it and
You
work
took a leap of faith.
towards it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I took a leap of faith. But again,
Yes.
it was complemented by the work. So even in public service, as you sit behind your desk every morning with a Herculean task, you have that faith. Then you continue to work. And one thing I observe about Liberian, as you rightly said, the pastor who you interacted with talked about how Liberians exert faith. Things at times can be difficult, and to stay smart and move on. But faith is a valuable attribute that you can have or you can own and exploit. But in our instance, we are not exploiting the faith. There's other countries, other nations from other countries, they don't use faith so much. They just use calculated risks, which at times can lead into a failure. But we have the faith, and yet and say we are not exploiting it to take this country from one level to another and say, look, we don't have to wait for China to come and construct an overhead bridge. We can have the faith. Like we have the faith already. We go to church, we pray. We can raise up to the $4 million from our national budget. We find a source, and we get our source. We tax it properly and effectively collect the revenue, set it aside for that project. That's where I'm coming from. But we have the faith. We have mastered the faith. You sometimes you see people in the street, they smiling at you, they speak to you, smiling, but you don't know what they are going through. But how are we not able to exploit that faith to carry the country from one level to another? That's where I'm coming from. The faith of work is that we have the faith, but we're not working. We just depend on the manner, the manner faith. Then
Okay, so that way, so to sum it up, like we're only exercising faith and hope
yeah,
when things are
hope.
tough. But when things start to get a
Yeah.
little bit better, then we become complacent. Then we throw the faith away, and then we start to live in complacency.
So we can raise.
Okay, yes.
I get
it.
And we got a faith. Well, we can, utilize the faith.
Yeah. So I think we are becoming complacent once we start to achieve a little, bit of success. Joseph Irene, from the perspective of a young man, how it's significant is faith, your faith, in your life as a student, a young man. There's a lot going on in the country. There's peer pressure. Tell us what keeps you grounded and focused on your goals.
Before I dive into that, recently I had a conversation with someone, and she told me, she was like, you know, you have to be, you have to be grounded. And I told her I'm already grounded. She said, no, you have to be grounded in faith. And the reason here is you might, come out from a good home. A lot of us were raised, African parents that, I can see are one of the best parents because, the discipline and all those things. You might come from a disciplined home.
I can relate.
Yeah. You might come from a disciplined home, right? But if you're not grounded in faith as a young person, you can easily get swayed away because there are some circumstances that you might be faced with. And those circumstances, going against your faith, going against your morality might be the best route. Like, for example, the lady I was talking with, is that you might have a job and, maybe you're new on the job and, one of your family members sick and you have to pay some money to the hospital and all those things. And you have access to company's money. You have access to, company resources. You can use those things to sort out your problem. But that is not the rightful path. But because you're from, from a background of morality, raised in that manner, you might, feel this, you might feel resentment, you might feel like you don't want to do that, but you might get dissuaded because you're not grounded in the faith. But if you're grounded in faith, Christian principles, you understand that there are better routes. You tell yourself that I need to take this thing to God. Yes, I cannot take these matters into my own hand. And that's very necessary for young people. So, and I saw a reason. It's very necessary for us young people because, a lot of us, we have the home training, but because we lack the Christian faith, the Christian principle, we get dissuaded easily. Yes, and I think it's very much necessary, and that's one thing that I keep riding with. Yeah, because aside morality, but faith is also very necessary. Yes.
Joseph, I hope your peers are listening. That's very inspiring, and I'm really proud of you. The way you carry yourself, I mean, is different. It's really difficult to find young people in Liberia like you, Joseph. Continue
Thank
to
you.
be the good person that you are and continue to stay focused. So let's go to Pastor Tia. Pastor Tia, Joseph Akwezize made a very interesting point. And I want us to talk about it from your perspective as a man of God, as somebody who's guiding people spiritually. He said that Liberians are not really exploiting our faith. We've mastered it. We use it as a coping mechanism when we are faced with hardship. But then when we achieve a little bit of success, then we become complacent. So how can we now utilize our faith or to achieve major undertakings in both our lives individually and collectively as a nation. Reverend.
So, thank you for that. First of all, I just want to understand something down here because it's a little bit of politics into that. But let me just say from my point here. You see, like, let me goes to the individual own. So you see, faith, when you look at the actual definition of faith, right? You say faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Now let's look at the word substance. Substance could be anything that will benefit you, right? Yeah, let's look at it from the positive side now. I want also look at the coach.
Yeah, I really want to stay positive. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's look at it from the positive side. Substance is anything that benefits you, right? Now, first of all, as a young man, like your co-host said, and from the I enjoy him. So now, first of all, you look at the substance. You ask yourself, what do you want in life? What do you want to become? What is your value that you want to carry out there? And what you want people to see you to be? Do you want people to see you to be? So you look at all of these things, right? You look at substance, what you want to do, right? And the first of all, because when you look at substance, number one, you look at your character, who you establish friends with, or friendship with, who you interact with, and just into that, who you establish your social life with. Because these are things that is tough enough, it's very difficult to know who is who, right? Because you first of all need to understand that you are a manager for your own life. Your life, the life God gives to you, is bigger than any country, is bigger than any government. That has power for the life God gives to you. It's a whole huge company that you need to manage. So number one, you want to know who coming in your life as a friend, who you making, who you accepting. Look, Mr. Sako, this here is very simple, right? When we talk about the individual aspect, because number one, if you go to apply to a company, the first of all, the company will have to accept your letter, evaluate the letter, call you for an interview. Do you think why the company will want you to wait for a week before they can call you back to tell you whether they give you the job or not? Because why they want to do background check on you. They want to know who they are bringing into their company. Because every company wants a positive person that will help upgrade the company. So no company want a bad apple that will destroy the company. So it is the same with our life as individual. You want people that will upgrade your life and not people that will destroy your life. So it's a whole ballgame. So you first of all, you want to know who you want to become, what you want, what are those things you want to achieve. And when you find it, you start to bring the rightful kind of people in your life. And that way you start to make progress in life and people history start to mark you for that. Now, when it comes to the nation issue, it's a complicated situation. It's a complicated situation. Because I listened to the brother well. When the Liberian started his job, they're not looking for that area in Liberian. How many enjoyment the Liberian have carried on leadership and thing? No enjoyment, no genuine enjoyment the Liberian can put their hand up to. So the problem here, the reason why it is complicated when it comes to the national aspect is that, number one, the people apply faith to God. And people come and talk to the people and sell their products to the people. And the people see reasons. And there are other renowned people who confirm that this is the person God called to be. And and these people follow the call and the instruction of God. Because when you read the Bible in Matthew, when Jesus got baptized, what God said, this is the one in whom I'm well pleased. Hear him. So the same applies to the pastors and things in the country, those bishops and things, because as they speak, because most people don't want to vote before. They want to vote based upon the prophecy from the bishop or the pastor. So I see people come out to speak, the people follow the route. Then the people they voted for or the people in power start to contradict the people trust. So when it comes to national issue, it's very complicated, my brother. So don't shift the blame on the Liberian people that when they start enjoying, then they shy away. No.
No,
Liberian men will always remain.
yeah,
Come again?
Pastor, I think,
Yeah, let me come in
yeah, yeah,
with an
Joseph was
emphasis
prepared.
where I stress on.
I
Yeah.
wanted to do that, but I think Joseph would be the best
Okay,
person.
go ahead. Maybe I'm going different route with your
Yeah,
statement.
he started the argument. Joseph, I could go in, but I think you want your hand was up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
I
please.
just wanted to
Yeah,
do
please.
that aspect of use a faith. As soon as you start to see success, then you stop. That's just another one. But my key point is that if you look at the conglomeration of faith among the Liberians, we're supposed to be moving mountains. Those of us that are in public service, we're supposed to use that faith and take on projects that will take the country from one level to another. But we have faith and the country is still the same. Except we want to say when we have faith, so it shouldn't lead to governance, to proper governance, to development and to enhance the well-being of the citizens. That's what I'm seeing. Mostly I am focusing on the level of faith Liberian has with
Yeah.
respect to our resilience, our optimism. We're supposed to move mountains. So maybe the definition from the Bible, I think Paul said in the New Testament that all scripture is profitable for correction and proof of soul. I think that definition of being faith is the substance of things, hope and work for, and evidence of things not seen. But the way the definition looks is that you just say you have the faith, then the thing will turn out from heaven, just a manner. For me, the connotation or the denotation in that definition seem to suggest so.
Yeah, I think people are maybe reading the Bible too literally. Pastor will come in.
So
Yeah.
you see, my brother, thank you. So you cannot add to the gospel, you cannot subtract.
Yep.
So your suggestion, just put aside that
But
suggestion.
it is,
God,
but Paul said it has to be for correction in Paul. Somewhere
no,
down
but
in
you
Paul,
say
somewhere
maybe
reading,
it's
it was
supposed to
not
be.
a
Maybe
real
it's
direct
supposed to be.
religious discussion.
It's just his opinion, and it's
Yes, that
hypothetical, I would
definition
say,
was
right?
going to be very clear
Uh-huh.
by inserting work. Then a believer will say, "Oh, not just faith, but I can move. I can move to move that mountain or remove that mountain, take it from this place and put it so we Liberians, technocrats, politicians, the clergy,
Yeah.
we
So okay,
can
I
have
agree
a
with you.
collective faith to move this country to the next level."
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. The people have faith in Liberia, right? But then you have a government that you
But,
elect to lead the country.
but Pastor Tier, right?
Yeah.
The government is not different from the people. This is why we're talking. Most of the people that are in government, most of them are former deacons, pastors,
Mhm.
who are very deeply rooted in the faith before they ascend to public office. That's why we're saying, why can't
I
they,
agree.
transform that same concept, to that level that they are, the current level, to be able to push the country to the next destination, the next place that we need to be. You understand? So
So
it shouldn't just stop when
Mr.
we ascend to political or public office, I'll say.
So here's the thing here, Mr. Sacco. Here's the thing, right? Like the scripture say, it is good for us to know God for ourselves, right? Now, it's true that most of the government officials in government today, they came from a Christian background. They grew up being a Christian, they were taught the Christian principles and everything. I believe they got conscience. So, yeah, my point I was trying to make when I said these people in government betray the people faith, right? Because with the level of faith they exercise, like that take for example, the president. We all know the president to be a deacon. He was a deacon, he is a deacon in his church. So that's another high level in the church. That's a high level in the church there, a deacon. Because those are people who make decisions also on the pastors, the bishop. They take action on them. but yet a man who the people trusted with that title, because the entire country, those that voted for him, know him to be a bishop, a deacon, sorry. So based upon his Christian orient, no, it's just based upon a Christian background.
Yeah, we are all saying the same thing then.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
because
then you agree with me. Then you agree with me when I say the people betray the people faith.
But then the people, the government, and the people are the same. That's what I would say. Like, for instance, you just said Boaка used to be a deacon. Now he's the president. So now how can you, divorce Boaca being in his previous capacity as a deacon from him being a president now? Why can he transform that same concept, that same principle that he had when he was a deacon in the church? Why can he continue to conduct himself in the same way and manner that he did when he was a deacon? If he did that, then he'll be making some very, very sound decisions for the country. He'll be doing well for every one of us. And it's the same argument I think Joseph was presenting. Joseph?
And to add, there should be, our sermons should be revolutionized. Asking us, what are we doing with our faith? That more than half of our population is still sleeping hungry. School just opened. So many things we hear around. School just opened. Many parents, even working class parents, are unable to just register their children fully. Some have paid half. Couple books not there yet. So and we have faith. So we're supposed to be, as clergy, we're supposed to be asking our congregation, what are we doing with the immense faith we have in God to move mountains? To change the dynamics from over 500,000 people sleeping with hunger every night, to start reducing that number to more persons not sleeping hungry.
Okay,
So
Joshua.
That's where I'm coming from. Also,
yeah, Pastor Tia wants to come in quickly.
So my brother, I get all of your point. You are making point, but then I bring you back to faith. Faith doesn't have expiration date. It's a substance of things hoped for. The thing the Christians, the people in Liberia, the people of faith in Liberia are hoping for, the substance that they are hoping for a better Liberia, right? So we will keep trying government. People will come and fool us, and as we vote them, they will show themselves to us. So we remain in our faith. Thank God faith does not have expiration date. We will continue to apply faith until God can bring the rightful person to us.
Amen to that. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I will turn over to my co-host, Joseph. I think he's got some updates from Liberia. Let's take this quickly. Joseph?
Yeah, these are the recent trending headlines in Liberia. Liberia is a country with immense potential, but these headlines reveal how fragile its institution remains and how far the nation still goes or still has to go in building systems that serve public interest. Firstly, let's begin with the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. On August 28, 2025, President Boakai dismissed 3 officials following a leaked audio recording that shocked the entire country. In the recording, the chief of operations, Mayor Abraham O'Payne, is heard ordering the release of his daughter from a drug raid and threatening the officers who arrested her. And the officers have found her in the ghetto. The officer have found her in the ghetto, reportedly unclothed and in the company of suspected drugs users. This incident coming amid a national crisis over synthetic drugs like Kush raises serious questions about integrity, interference, and the rule of law. inside Liberia's enforcement agency. Then there's the issue of public salaries. On September 4, 2025, an audit revealed that government institutions are bypassing Liberia's salary cap law by using budgetary loophole known as the grants code. In simple terms, this allows officials to receive inflated wages outside the formal payroll system. It's a technical workaround, but one with serious consequences. It undermines transparency, distorts equity, and erodes public trust in government. And at the JFK Medical Health Hospital in Liberia, Liberia's largest public hospital, a 25 million lawsuit was filed over the death of a young woman and her unborn child. The family alleges gross medical negligence, citing delays in treatments and errors in anesthesia. According to court documents, the Liberia Medical and Dental Council had already found JFK liable in its internal review. This case is not just one tragedy. It reflects broader concerns about the quality of healthcare, oversight, and accountability in healthcare system. And meanwhile, the University of Liberia, the nation's flagship university, is facing a serious disruption. On September 1, 2025, the Faculty Association voted to disengage from all academic activities, citing salary delays, poor sanitation, and stalled promotions. Education is a pillar of national development, yet grievances at UL are long-standing and unresolved. When lecturers go unpaid and basic conditions deteriorate, it sends a troubling signals about the state's commitment to learning and human capital. But there is one bright spot. On September 4, 2025, Liberia unveils a 900 million United States dollars agriculture investment at the Food Africa Systems Forum. The plan aims to boost production of rice, cassava, maize, coffee, and oil palm and reduce dependence on imports. It's an ambitious step toward food security and rural development. But as with many initiatives, its success will depend on implementation, transparency, and political will. Finally, a controversy over dress codes. The General Services Agency, GSA, issued a memo banning certain clothing style, including slippers, sleeveless blouse, short skirts, tight jeans, bushy beards, dreadlocks, and so on. Days later, the information minister publicly condemned the memo, calling it impractical and unofficial. These episodes may seem minor, but it reflects a deeper issue: policy disconnection from reality and governance that struggle to speak with one voice. Taken together, these are the stories so far from Liberia. These are the trending stories in Liberia. Liberia deserves better. And the path forward begins with honest reflection, not just about what went wrong, but about how to build institutions that can do better. Thank you. And those are the news headlines of recent.
Thank you, Joseph. I wish we had more time to delve into some of those trending stories back in the country, but we have to go. This has been a very interesting segment. The topic of faith is, is very big. I'll put it that way. Like I don't even have the right adjective, but It is something that is significant to most Liberians. Our faith is what we have. It's the only assurance that we have when the government failed us, when family members fail us, when things just don't seem to be working out the way we want them to work out. We rely on God. We hope in God that one day a better day will come. So before we wrap up, gentlemen, please give us your parting comments if you have any.
I was starting the revenue coming in. So my
Okay.
party comment is we should endeavor to utilize our faith. Sometimes, mostly, this comes with the message from the Word of God. We shouldn't just um, say in passing that faith without work is dead. We should emphasize it and begin to ask ourselves, what are we doing with the immense faith we have to move this country forward? Other than just say, okay, I have faith, I'm a Christian, but yet and still, half of our population, or more than half of our population, go to bed hungry, and we say we have faith. No. So that's just my parting comment, and I express my thanks and appreciation to the host and the co-host for for inviting us to this platform, and it is our endeavor that we will take this platform to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We'll see you hopefully next week. Reverend Addison Tia.
Well, I want to say thank you for the show, and I want to take the time to encourage the Christian community, those with faith. I want to say continue holding on to your faith. While it is true you hope for a better Liberia and government you trust, people you trust that you think will come and make the difference for you, and these are the same people who are letting down your faith. Don't give up. And one thing I want to make clear is that if Erie, this person was a Christian, I mean, it's a Christian, and they got into power and they're not exercising that belief, I mean, that Christian upbringing or that faith where they're supposed to do the right thing. And I mean, I just want to encourage every meaning Liberian. I want to say, keep on with your faith. And one thing I want to make clear is that faith does not have expiration time. Apparently, it may not be the rightful leadership that's supposed to get it that will bring the change to Liberia. So as we continue to apply that, I mean, let us continue to apply our faith in God and believe it in God that one day that change will come. So I just want to encourage you, keep up with your faith. Don't give up. Don't let anybody beg you to go away with your faith. I just want to thank you, Mr. Sako, for the show. Even though this is my very first time, but I want to say thank you. As we continue on this, we'll continue to prep ourselves for the Liberian people to better inform them. And I say thank you. May God bless you and your host.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, sir. We had a good time chatting with you, and we hope to see you in the near future. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Sunday.
you.
Joseph, any final announcement from your end? You're
No
muted.
further announcement. I just want to say, we had a great show. Yeah, it was really nice talking about the fate of Liberian people. We've come a long way, and faith has played a significant role. And I would just like to say this to every young person out there, like myself. Faith is very, very necessary in our lives. Faith is not just for the older ones because we are going to get there. And the principles that we hold today is what we are going to, carry out there. And, I want us to understand that the future, we are the future of Liberia, and the future of Liberia depends on the shoulders of those that, believe and build. So our faith is very important in ensuring a better future of our nation. So thank you so much. I really appreciate the time. I enjoy the ride.
Thank you very much for all you do behind the scenes. We value your contribution. This show would not be where it is today without your hard work, my young man. Thank you. So we have part two of this segment that will have a series of interviews with some gospel artists. You know, gospel music also plays a very important role in this whole faith process. Like we turn to our gospel music when we feel down, when we are depressed. Our gospel musicians are like giants in our life. We look up to them. They counsel us, they pacify us. Uh, they are our source of therapy by default. So we will be having Mr. Victor Jones midweek segment. That will be 9 p.m. CST for our American audience, US audience. Please follow us on Wednesday this week, 9 p.m. I will be hosting the legendary Victor Jones from Glorious Lamb International. And I'll also have another interview lineup with a Liberian gospel musician based in the US, my good friend, William Davis. So we have a lot of good things in store for you. Continue to follow Liberty Live on all platforms. We're live on YouTube. I'm forgetting now. YouTube, Facebook, and sometimes on Instagram. Stay tuned for more high-level programming. On that note, have a wonderful Sunday, and please continue to be kind to the people around you. I will see you next time. Take care.